Okay, let's go ahead and get started this afternoon. I hope you had enough time to eat just a bit. We are extremely delighted, I am personally, to introduce my good friend and the president of the Alabama State Bar, Cole Portis. You have his bio in your material, so we're not going to go through any of that. Many of you know Cole. Two of members, folks who work at his firm, are in this class. Raise your hands so everybody make sure they're these. So here we are, right here, right at the front. We're delighted to have Cole with us. If there's ever an example of a servant leader, you're looking at this. So Cole, speak to everybody.
Yeah. So one of the things they do when you're state bar president, you do a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff you don't realize why you do stuff, right? And so occasionally, like we recently appointed Philip McCallum as the new executive director. I don't know if y'all saw that announcement or not. And Philip is great, and and right before we have to send out, hey everybody, Philip McCallum's the new president of the Alabama State Bar. The PR person says, hey Cole, would you mind giving some little snippet about why Philip McCallum's going to be the greatest executive director for the Alabama State Bar? And I said, sure, I'd be glad to do that. So similarly, when the PR person said, hey, listen, we're about to announce the leadership forum class, would you mind saying something about it? And I was like, well, what am I supposed to say? She goes, well, I've already attached for you what last year's president had said. She goes, would you like to use that? And I was like, Lee Copeland, Ashley's partner, said it, and so no, I don't want to use that. I don't want to use that. So this is what I said. And I don't know if y'all read this, but I actually spent some time on it, and so this is what I said. Our state is fortunate to have a solid core of young lawyers in our state who are accomplished. Through LF, we bring together a diverse group of young lawyers who are further trained to become servant leaders to their community neighbors and to their brothers and sisters in the legal profession. The lawyers selected for this year's LF will experience an intense educational program to better understand the core values of ethics and professionalism in the practice of law. Once they finish these classes, they will join past graduates to become ambassadors for our profession and who epitomize the bar's motto, lawyers render service. I thought that was pretty good, didn't you? I did it myself. All right. I think it's been intense, hasn't it? I mean, it's been somewhat intense. The hours have been long. Internally, you're looking at yourself and seeing who you are and where you're going. But really, at the end of the day, right, at the end of the day, if I was to stand up here, I would say that y'all are the future, right? Y'all are the future. By the way, my youngest child, I have 9 children, and my youngest child asked literally this week, he was like, do I have a future? And I was like, dude, I mean, you're 6. You're 6. Yes, you got a future. But he couldn't quite grasp what the idea of a future is. The fact that tomorrow is his future, he really wasn't able to grasp that. Or the fact that what he would be doing 10 years, I mean, he just couldn't grasp. He could only grasp that particular moment in time. But we're all adults in here, and we can grasp the future. Now, none of us, I don't think, in here can tell the future, to my knowledge, but we can grasp the future. And so the question is, what does that hold? I mean, one of the beauties and one of the joys that I get as being the Alabama State Bar president is the ability to travel and the ability to talk to people and lawyers primarily in our state. And there's this big concern. In fact, we have a task force called the Future of the Profession. So one of the issues that lawyers in our state have is I don't know what the legal field is going to look like in the future. I mean, it seems to be changing so quickly. At the last Board of Bar Commissioners meeting, in fact, we spoke a little bit about LegalZoom. Anybody ever heard of LegalZoom? Anybody kind of know what that is? Is it kind of impacting maybe some of your business, maybe not? But it's affecting a lot of lawyers in our state. And so we have this idea, this Uberification, is that a word? Uberification of really the legal practice. And there are more than just LegalZoom out there. And so how's that affecting? And then, of course, I know that since y'all don't watch daytime TV, you're too busy. I suspect that there's probably a little bit of lawyer advertising going on, right? And there's probably some lawyer advertising, and that's kind of new. It's kind of different. Is it, and we're kind of struggling. You got the U.S. Supreme Court that's saying freedom of speech, and then you got some lawyers going, some of this just doesn't quite feel right, doesn't look right. And so you have this struggle of what's going on, and how's that going to impact the future? One of the things I was amazed before I came into office was as I was going, and I actually had to campaign for this position. And so I'd go on and I would talk to people. And one of the things that I was really, really surprised to discover is that 70% of Alabama lawyers don't have a web presence at all. Yeah, wow. Don't have a web presence at all. And yet we know, I think most of us in this room know and understand that most people aren't putting up their phone books, going back to the back and opening up the yellow pages and going, hey, I wonder how I can find a lawyer who handles a divorce, for instance. Instead, they're going on their computers, they're Googling in what? I need a divorce lawyer in Montgomery, Alabama. And all of a sudden, all these names pop up. But we have this general idea, we have this technology going on, we have emerging areas of law, we have marketing issues, we have business issues, we have all of these future issues, and what is that going to look like? And I know that you'll be glad to know I have no earthly idea. You're the future. Right? You're the future. You're going to have opportunity. We're going to be able to study. We're going to be able to look. But at the end of the day, these problems as they come up, you're going to have the opportunity to address. Now, let me comfort you to let you know that I do believe this, that there is nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. Even though we will perceive that change is occurring, it's probably not anything that you won't be able to address in any shape, form, or fashion. And I would encourage you, be an advocate for the profession and for the public, because lawyers are uniquely educated to solve problems. You are uniquely educated to solve problems. And there are going to be problems that you just can't think of. There are problems in your profession. There are going to be problems in the bar. There are going to be problems with our profession in general. And you've been educated to solve problems. Now, here's the reality. In your personal life, you have times when everything seems to just be going so well. I mean, your family life is well, is going well, your professional life is going well. Everything is just, it couldn't go any better. And then, out of the blue, life happens. Circumstances happen. Difficult times happen. And if it hadn't happened in your life, then the news flash that I have for you is that it's going to happen in your life. And what I would tell you is this, that those difficult or hard times, and most of you know this, and most of you can teach this, and most of you can preach this based on personal experience, those difficult times or those hard times in your life that happen to you personally or professionally in your career, I submit to you, are the best times in your life. I submit to you that good times are good, but I would submit to you that difficult times are even better Say, well, when I'm in the middle of my circumstances, it doesn't feel better, Cole. What I'm telling you is, before those circumstances occur, go into it with the idea that, listen, life is going to happen, the hard times are going to come, the future's going to hit me, and it's not going to be quite the way that I envisioned it. Because here's the reality. The reality is, when those difficult times do in fact come, it really is the measure of the person. It really is the ability to develop your character. It really is the ability for you to impact others as they watch and they observe how you are handling those difficult circumstances. It's the ability to impact others. Most of you, although some of you may know a little bit about my personal story, when I would practice law for a couple of years, I started practicing law in 1990, and in December of 1993, my wife was scheduled to have her first child, or our first child, right? Our first child. And, you know, as the husband and the father to be, I thought the pregnancy went great. I thought it went fantastic. I didn't have any problems at all. I mean, it went wonderful. And so, you know, I was just really hoping that the baby would be born before the new year ended, so that I get the tax break, right, for the whole entire year. The baby was, in fact, born on December 28th of 1993. And then on December 29th of 1993, my wife passed away from complications related to the pregnancy. Well, that was, just to be honest, that was a difficult time. It was really a difficult circumstance, and yet, right, here is this baby, this innocent child, who by the way, now is 20, I guess, whatever, 93, be 24, I don't know how old she is, 24, 24, somewhere, who's now in Africa and married with her husband, doing some mission work. But this baby is innocent, who needs a parent, who needs somebody to be a rock for her, who is completely unaware of all the circumstances and everything going on. And so the question is it going to be my opportunity just to wallow in the sorrow and for everybody? I mean, by the way, when difficult times happen, it's amazing how kind and generous others are to you. It really is. Humanity is at its finest when they're helping others. And so people surrounded me, they loved me, and it was a, you know, that was a great blessing in my life. But at the end of the day, it wasn't time for me just to wallow. It was time for me to care, and it was time for me to plan for the future. Recently in the Alabama State Bar, as you may know, so the executive director has retired. I knew that coming in. This is going to be good. This is, you know, an opportunity to come in and to help select the next executive director of the Alabama State Bar. But the one thing really that came in that was unexpected, and of course life happens, is that the general counsel, Tony McLean, passed away on January the 1st. Tony was beloved within and outside the bar. He had just a wonderful ability to relate to people. He had wonderful people skills. He was somebody that was a rock that we in the Alabama State Bar could really depend upon. And on January 1st, Tony McLean has passed away from cancer. My God. The last thing that I needed to do as president of the State Bar would be to go, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. I mean, we're not going to be able to function. It's not going to be possible. But really what you do, right, is you honor the man and the legacy that he provided. and you plan for the future and the opportunities that it provides. The state bar is bigger than Tony McClain, but we certainly don't want the fact that an icon within our organization has passed away to affect the future. We want to take hold of that, and we want to affect the future. The other thing that we noticed is, and many of you can probably give testimony of people in your circuits, and that is that there are lawyers in your sphere of influence and who you interact with who are struggling like I've never seen lawyers struggle. They're struggling with the type of law that they're practicing. A lot of lawyers in our state handle really criminal matters, and yet the whole financial foundation of how they were compensated was completely changed by the state for various and sundry reasons, whether right or wrong. That they knew they've done this criminal law for so long, they knew how to do it, and they were good at it, and they were able to make a good living doing it, but all of a sudden their whole foundation was changed. All of a sudden these small town lawyers had difficulty keeping clients even within their hometowns. They seemed to be drawn away by certain marketing practices by other lawyers. So how are they going to cope? What are they going to do? It seems in many lawyers in our state, I'm just going to be honest with you, it seems like they are in a dark and a difficult circumstance. So what is the bar's responsibility? What is the bar's opportunity? What are those lawyers going to do personally and professionally? Maybe some of y'all. I know that our goal as the Alabama State Bar is to be, and it said it in black and white, we are to be an advocate for the profession, and we are to be an advocate for the public at large. We are to be advocates. So really, what that tells me and I've said this over and over again. Y'all, I hope you've read at least one of my articles. But what I've said over and over again is love your neighbor. I'm committed to doing it. I'm gonna love my neighbor. I'm gonna love the lawyers that I was elected to serve, and I'm gonna love the public. And so one of the things that we started last week, we had our first class, Lawyer University Marketing 101. We limited it to 75 people. It's sold out. We had 2 speakers come in, and the responses that we got were amazing. And so we're going to have different opportunities, practical advice related to business, related to emerging areas of law, related to technology. Because see, this is an opportunity to help lawyers think outside the box. Because from a technology standpoint, they have opportunities that they've never had before. You see, they don't just have to stay in a particular area. Technology allows them, to practice law in a lot of different places. But they've got to change their business paradigm, and they don't really understand how to do that. And so we as a state bar, I hope, even in a tough and a difficult circumstance, are going to do our best to provide educational opportunities there that are very, very practical in nature. We've got a number of things that are going on. You're going to start seeing some health and wellness initiatives. Look, most of y'all look like y'all are completely in shape. You look like you all run like 3 miles a day. You all look like you eat all your vegetables and you drink a lot of water every day, right? And almonds, a lot of almonds. Somebody's eating a lot of almonds. So everybody, health and, sorry, I eat them too. I'm good. I love the almonds. Health and wellness. I mean, we need to be physically and emotionally and spiritually really where we need to be in order to make a difference and to be energized and to be mentally energized and to be emotionally energized to help our clients and to help the public. So you're going to start seeing some initiatives as it relates to health and wellness. We've got a diversity problem in our state bar. Ed, help me out. And you may not know the numbers. What is the diversity percentage in the Alabama State Bar? 8%?
You know, it's lower than that. It's about maybe 4% if you're talking about African Americans and in other races. It's
Okay.
4%.
Okay, 4%. So what are we going to do? Now, my vice president is Monet Gaines, and Monet's been very specific, and she's involved in some wonderful outreach plans on college campuses. We've been doing outreach plans at high school campuses. She's got a whole plan in place, but it's going to take time, and it's going to require effort to make our bar better. And we got to be aware of what the issues are, what the circumstances are, what the difficulties are, and we got to do our best to approach those particular circumstances. But we don't just need to look internally, right? We don't just need to look internally, but we are to not only be advocates for the profession, but we are to be advocates for what? The public. And we certainly do that, I think, probably in our jobs, is to be an advocate for the public. There are different ways that we can do that. Certainly through pro bono work. We talked about that. Pro bono work, you may have already heard a lot about that. We may have discussed that already. Be glad to talk to you about it more. I've been trying to encourage people to get involved in public service, specifically elected office. Anybody ready to run? Huh? Anybody ready to run for public office? Everybody's going, no way, I'm not getting involved in it. Our legislature is void. Am I right, Stephen? Our legislature is void of lawyer legislators. The number of lawyer legislatures is minuscule, especially compared to what it's been historically. Is that right? We need people to get involved in that kind of public service. There's a need. By the way, I don't know if y'all know, but the legislature, do you know what they do? They make what? Laws. They make laws, and we have very few lawyer legislators in there. Volunteer. I know it's hard. I know it's a sacrifice, but I'm encouraging you to do it. I guess as president, one other thing that I get to do is I get to have my own little pet projects. And as part of that, my wife and I are foster parents. It's something I never, ever, 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 ever thought I would do for a lot of different reasons. Not the least of which was I don't have time, and I don't, but I don't have time. I'll get too emotionally attached to the child. I don't want to upset the rhythm of the other children in my house. Some of them, they sound good, but here's the reality, as my wife liked to put it, she goes, Cole, are you telling me that there's a child outside our door right now who has no place to sleep, that you would not take them in? And I was like, oh, absolutely. She goes, well, that's foster parenting. There are hundreds of children out there right now who don't have a place to sleep. So when we get, most of the calls, by the way, always come in the middle of the night. They always come in the middle of the night, and I always know it's DHR, and I'm always handing the phone to Joy, my wife, and I'm whispering, no. And she goes, sure, we'll have a place ready. I'm like, oh, come on, right? So we got two precious foster children right now, a 4- and a 5-year-old. They'll be there for, I don't know, maybe another few months or so, and then they'll go and they'll have there's probably a plan. There's a plan in place. It needs to move quicker, and then there'll be some other children that come in. All that being said is I'm engaged in foster parenting. Each of you probably are engaged in public service or advocating for public in a different way. But as president, I get to at least highlight foster parenting. And one of the things that's going on that I wrote about in Alabama Lawyer this month is called the Suit Grace Initiative. There's a judge up in Lawrence County, Judge Terry. Anybody from up that way? Anybody know her? No, maybe. Judge Terry, and then there was the president of the St. Clair Bar Association named Jennifer Sellers. They were both doing kind of the same deal. And that is, usually when a foster child comes into our house, they're coming in with either a trash bag, or they're coming in with a Walmart bag with their belongings in it, or they're coming in with some sort of mesh bag. And so at the Suit Grace Initiative, both of these lawyers in Alabama, one a judge, one a practicing attorney, had the idea that we're going to buy them new suitcases full of stuff that they actually will use and need while they're in their foster home. So that when they go to the next foster home, or they go back to their permanent home with their mom and their dad, or they go back to a permanent home, they will have this solid suitcase that they can take with them that makes sense. And it was interesting, I heard from a lawyer as I talked about it, who was a foster child. And she said, this is great. She goes, I vividly remember taking my plastic bag from house to house and how much more it would have meant if I'd had something that was tangible, that showed some sort of value or worth. I was like, what? Okay, cool. So I hope that you'll look at that and get involved in it. All of that to say, listen, let me go back. We're fortunate to have a solid core of lawyers in our state who are accomplished. Y'all have been brought together to be trained to become servant leaders, to become community neighbors, to become brothers and sisters, and to help your brothers and sisters in the legal profession. Will you join us? Will you join your brothers and sisters in the profession? Will you join those other graduates to become ambassadors for our profession, ambassadors for the public, who epitomize the bar's motto, lawyers render service? Will you do that, both in good times and in difficult times? Thank y'all.